based on science.
Hey everyone, Matt Thomas here. Thanks for watching. So this is the second video in my Neuroeducation 101 video series. And the purpose of this video series is to explain how the brain really learns and how we can use that information as teachers to influence student instruction. So if you haven't seen the first video in this series, please watch that before watching this video. It's going to explain how the brain really learns. So a real quick review of that video is our brain doesn't necessarily make meaning the way we think it does, but rather our brain makes predictions as to what is about to happen, and it bases those predictions on our previous experiences in that situation. Again, please watch that first video. We want to keep that in mind: action, prediction, reaction. We want to keep that in mind when creating an effective classroom environment for our students, which is what this video is all about. It's going to be in two parts, just to keep the video short. So this video is about creating an effective learning environment for our students. So I want to make sure something's very clear. What we're teaching isn't necessarily going to impact the students as much as how we teach that information. So what I mean is, as a ninth grade English teacher, I'm going to be teaching the same material that all the other ninth grade English teachers are going to be teaching them. How I teach that material will be more impactful, right? We'll have more of an influence over, whether or not the students learn it effectively. So the algebra teacher is going to teach the same information that all the other algebra teachers teach. So it isn't necessarily the information, but it's how that information is taught that will influence student learning. So that being said, let's get into it. There are 4 steps in creating an effective learning environment. We're going to talk about the first 2 in this video. So the first one in creating an effective learning environment for our students is modeling the behavior that we want to see from our students. So teenagers model adult behavior. Neuroscientists used to refer to them as mirror neurons, and then through the research they realized there wasn't enough evidence to support that there's mirror neurons, so they used the metaphor of mirror regions. And it is a metaphor. I'll talk about neuroscientists and their use of metaphors later on, but teenagers will model the behavior of the adults around them. I'll give you a perfect example. So a teenager will say, a common thing a teenager will say is, hey, you respect me first, and I'll give you respect. An adult will say, no, I'm the adult. You need to give me respect first, and then I'll give it back to you. And if you look at those arguments side by side, it's the same exact argument. So teenagers will model the adult behavior, influenced by the adults around them. So knowing that, what we want to do as teachers, we want to speak to our students in the way that we want to be spoken to. And that includes saying please, saying thank you, asking our students rather than telling our students. Like, hey, Joey, do me a favor. Do you mind turning the lights off? I'm going to project something here. Rather than, Joey, turn the lights off. Or, hey, Joey, do me a favor. Do you mind picking up that piece of trash? I know you didn't drop it. I just appreciate you picking it up. Acknowledging the things they do so that they know that they should continue doing these positive things. When a student walks into class, smiling, saying hi. Imagine if you walk into a room and everyone turns and looks and goes, ugh. Like, you'd feel terrible. That's a terrible thing to go through. Or imagine you walk into a room and everyone's eyes light up and they smile and they're like, hey, what's up? Thanks for coming, right? You'll feel so much better about yourself. And that's what we want for our students. And when the students experience that, they experience feeling valued, they experience feeling appreciated, their brain is going to predict that that's going to happen every time they come to your class. So if they're sitting in second period and they're sitting in a class with a teacher that doesn't make them feel valued, that doesn't make them feel appreciated, they're going to think of your class and go, oh yeah, Mrs. Johnson next period. Oh, I love her class. Then all of a sudden they're going to feel really good because their brain's predicting that they're going to feel valued, they're going to feel appreciated, they're going to come into class ready to learn. The classroom management is going to be so much easier because they're going to be happy to be there because you make them feel valued and appreciated. So let's be real, let's be fair. We're teachers. We know that we have those challenging students that are being negatively impacted by adults in their life. So as you're treating them with respect every day, some students may take a little longer to reciprocate that respect. It may take a week, it may take a month, it may take a semester, it may take a year. But I will say this, if you're consistently treating your students with respect, making them feel valued, having a structured class, being firm but fair, even those challenging students, if they're a little challenging in your class, I would presume they're a lot more challenging in a class where the teachers don't make them feel appreciated and valued. So that's the first step. Model the behavior that you want from your class, from your students. The second step in creating an effective learning environment is to calm the amygdala. So I want to first let me clarify something. So neuroscientists use metaphors to make complex topics more accessible. And that's really what great teaching is, right? If I'm explaining something in class, if I'm explaining it to my students and they're not getting it, then it's my fault, right? I need to explain it in a different way to make the information more accessible. I use a lot of metaphors in my class. Neuroscientists use a lot of metaphors. I say that because in education, there's that term amygdala hijack that is going around. And what that is used to describe is if someone is going through a very challenging time in their life, the amygdala takes over and doesn't allow new learning to happen. Now, let me explain. The amygdala hijack is a metaphor. That doesn't really happen. That's not what the amygdala does. The amygdala is used in many parts of the brain and many processes, many things going on. One including whether deciding what information is important to remember or not. The amygdala is active in many emotions. It could be sadness, fear, and including happiness. It is equally active in happiness as it is in fear. So the amygdala hijack, again, is not how the brain works, but it is a metaphor. Like, even though it's not really a thing, best intentions, right? It does describe that if students are distracted, they will not learn the material as efficiently as we want them to. Because what happens is, if the students are going through a challenging time, they just got yelled at by another teacher, got yelled at by their parents, maybe their grandparents or something's in the hospital, and they're going through a very difficult time, their brain's going to be focused on that. We would call it a distraction. And so their brain is saying, look, what's going on right now, what I'm experiencing right now is more important than what you're explaining, right, in class. It's more important than Romeo and Juliet. So when the students come into that class with that distraction, then yes, learning is not going to happen as efficiently as we want it to. What we want to do as teachers is try to take away all the distractions that we can control. If a student comes in, we want our students to feel valued, feel appreciated. We don't want to be the cause of those distractions. So that being said, if you're always making your students feel valued, appreciated, you're creating fun lesson plans, your students know and respect you, they know they're going to be treated well, they're going to come to class with fewer distractions that you would have been caused, right? Like, we can't control their outside life. But let's say, now let's be real. We're teachers. I got to be respectful, but let's be real. If there's a teacher that is causing those distractions in class, yelling at students a lot, not creating effective learning environment, not creating fun and engaging lesson plans. If a student is thinking about that teacher, oh, they got the class coming up, their brain's going to be predicting, oh, you've got that teacher coming up. That teacher's going to yell at you. That teacher's going to make you feel uncomfortable. Now all of a sudden there's a lot of distractions in that student's brain, and so that student's going to come to class not ready to learn, right? Not really conducive for learning. They may lash out. That could create more classroom management issues, which could just perpetuate and build up, etc. So that being said, we as teachers want to take away whatever distractions we can control. So model the behavior you want from your students. Try not to create any distractions for them, right? Have their brain predict that they're going to have a great time in class. And always remember that every interaction you have with someone is an opportunity to either enhance the prediction that their brain made about you and your interaction, or confirm a prediction. So if you are always a teacher that makes your students feel valued and has great lessons and fun and engaging lessons and the students feel appreciated, their brain is going to predict that that's going to happen every time. You have that chance every time to confirm that prediction. You also have a chance, though, to enhance a prediction. Let's say you're a teacher that has created challenging times for your students, right? You've yelled at students at times. You don't feel like your classroom is very comfortable for them, and you want to change that. Every interaction you have with your students is an opportunity to change that prediction, right? To start treating the students with respect. Start saying please and thank you more. Start creating fun and engaging lesson plans. So their brain will now start to create or change that prediction from, oh, you're not going to really enjoy the class, to, oh, your teacher's actually valuing you and making you feel good. You're going to enjoy that class. It will really help with classroom management and will definitely enhance student learning. Thank you.